The arena buzzed with anticipation long before the first punch was thrown. Under the bright light stood two men separated by geography, experience, and legacy, but united by ambition. Australia's undefeated rising force, Tim Tszyu, walked to the ring with the calm intensity of a man carrying both national pride and a legendary surname. Across from him stood Detroit's slick veteran, former world champion Tony Harrison, a fighter who had climbed the mountain before and knew exactly what championship pressure felt like. The introductions echoed. WBO #1 contender, the crowd roared. Former WBC super welterweight champion, respect rippled through the building. This wasn't just youth versus experience, it was pressure versus precision. When the referee called them together, the moment felt heavy. Final instructions, touch gloves, eye contact that said more than words ever could. The bell rang and immediately the chess match began. Harrison settled into his rhythm first, sliding back toward the ropes, flicking out his sharp, educated jab. He wasn't retreating, he was inviting, measuring, calculating. Tszyu, composed and stalking, moved forward behind a tight guard. No wasted motion, no rush, just steady pressure. The early exchanges were subtle but meaningful. Harrison's jab snapped cleanly, scoring points and testing Tszyu's patience. Tszyu answered with probing right hands, some landing, some just grazing air. The crowd reacted to every forward step from the Australian, sensing something brewing beneath the surface calm. Two minds searching for advantage, two fighters waiting for the first mistake. And by the end of the opening rounds, it was clear this quiet tension would not last long. By the third round, the temperature inside the arena began to rise. The polite exchanges gave way to sharper intentions. Harrison continued pumping his jab, doubling it, tripling it, keeping Tszyu honest. His footwork was smooth, pivoting off angles, slipping just outside danger. It was a veteran's performance. Calm, controlled, intelligent. But Tszyu was not there to admire technique. He began cutting the ring off more deliberately, stepping to his left, forcing Harrison toward corners rather than allowing him escape routes. The pressure was no longer subtle, it was deliberate, measured, heavy. Then it happened. A perfectly timed right hand from Tszyu sailed over Harrison's jab and landed flush. The impact changed the rhythm instantly. Harrison's legs betrayed him for a split second. His eyes blinked. He clinched. The crowd erupted. Tszyu sensed it immediately. He attacked the body with authority, digging a left hook into the ribs before firing another right upstairs. Harrison, visibly shaken, tried to tie him up and buy time. His experience kept him upright, but the momentum had shifted. Still, the American refused to fold. He returned to his jab, using it like a lifeline. He snapped it repeatedly, regaining composure, landing clean and frustrating Tszyu in spots. An uppercut slipped through. A right hand clipped Tszyu as he advanced. It was a fascinating contrast. Harrison scoring with volume and precision, Tszyu answering with heavier artillery. The middle rounds became a tactical war. Harrison's jab counted in numbers, but Tszyu's punches carried weight. Every body shot landed with purpose. Every right hand thudded with authority. The fight was tightening, and everyone could feel it. The pressure was building toward something explosive. As the fight entered the later rounds, fatigue began whispering into both corners. Sweat flew with every exchange. Breathing grew heavier, but Tszyu's forward march never slowed. Harrison tried to increase his movement, circling more, bouncing lightly, pumping the jab with renewed urgency. For a brief stretch, he found rhythm again. A crisp right hand landed. A sharp uppercut snapped Tszyu's head slightly. For the first time, Tszyu took a small step back. The crowd noticed. But Tszyu's composure never cracked. He adjusted, tightened his guard, then resumed the hunt. The body work began paying dividends. Left hooks buried deep into Harrison's ribs, short right hands punched through the guard. Harrison's jab, though still active, lacked the same snap. The American's legs weren't as lively. His back touched the ropes more frequently now, not by design but by necessity. Then came the moment that changed everything. Tszyu timed another overhand right perfectly over Harrison's jab. It landed clean. Harrison staggered again, this time more dramatically. Tszyu exploded forward with a barrage, right hand, left hook, another right. Harrison tried to respond, but his reactions were half a beat slow. The pressure was suffocating. A crushing combination sent Harrison collapsing to the canvas. The arena erupted into chaos. He rose, barely steady, eyes glassy, legs untrustworthy. The referee watched closely as Tszyu unleashed another relentless assault. Heavy shots poured in, Harrison's guard crumbled. And then the referee stepped in. It was over. The referee waved it off and the arena exploded in sound. At 2 minutes and 43 seconds of round 9, it was declared technical knockout. Tim Tszyu had done it. He didn't just win, he dismantled a former world champion. Harrison, ever the warrior, stood respectfully despite the disappointment etched across his face. He had boxed beautifully at times, his jab had been sharp, his experience evident, but Tszyu's pressure, power, and patience proved overwhelming. The doubters who questioned Tszyu's readiness were silenced in dramatic fashion. This was not simply a contender's victory, it was a statement, the kind that echoes across a division. Tszyu climbed the ropes, arms raised, absorbing the roar of the crowd, sweat dripping, chest heaving, eyes shining with vindication. He had passed the test. Through calculated pressure, through intelligent adjustments, through relentless body work and devastating timing. For Harrison, it was a reminder of how unforgiving the sport can be. One moment you're dictating with a jab, the next, you're fighting to survive against a younger, hungrier force. But on this night, it belonged to Tszyu. The Australian star had proven he was more than a famous surname, more than a rising prospect. He was a legitimate world-level force. And as the lights glistened overhead and the announcer confirmed the result once more, one thing was undeniable. This was no longer just a contender's rise. This was the arrival of Tim Tszyu.